Okay, so just to open the event, I'd like to welcome Dr. Lizzie Garrett, who's Head of Atmospheric and Polar Sciences at UKRI, to come and welcome you here. Thanks a lot.
Hi everyone, I'm Lizzie Garrett, Head of Atmospheric and Polar at the Natural Environments Research Council from UK Research and Innovation. I'm responsible for the strategic research portfolio in this area, which includes the greenhouse gas removal from the atmosphere, GGR-A Programme, and the Greenhouse Gas Removal Demonstrators, GGR-D Programme. So I've been invited just to say a few words at the beginning from perspective of UKRI, and I was just going to mention a bit of how these programmes started. So I'll begin at the beginning, for anyone that doesn't know. UKRI was launched in April 2018. It's a non-departmental public body sponsored by the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, BEIS. It brings together the 7 disciplinary research councils, Innovate UK and Research England. And those 7 disciplinary research councils are NERC, where I'm from, AHRC, BBSRC, ESRC, EPSRC, MRC and STFC. And I can give you the full words behind those acronyms if you want to test me on them. So UKRI, the UK's largest public funder of research and innovation. UKRI have just recently released our strategy for 2022 to 2027 called Transforming Tomorrow Together. So I wanted to specifically mention this because it's got some priorities of relevance. So although it was released after the GGR programmes were both established, it's still relevant. So within it, if you have a look, it's got 5 strategic themes identified about tackling large-scale complex challenges. And one of these themes is called Building a Green Future. So this talks about helping to improve the health of our environment and deliver net zero, securing prosperity across the whole of the UK. So I don't think I really need to work very hard to show you that GGR is very central to that. So it's just still very important to GGR research and innovation is still really important to UKRI and our agenda. I'm going to take you back in time now to the beginning of the GGR-A Programme. So this is an £8.6 million programme led by NERC, but with co-funding from BEIS, EPSRC and ESRC, and partnership from the Met Office Hadley Centre and STFC. So the case for the programme was put together actually in the autumn of 2015, at the time recognising that large-scale removal of greenhouse gases from the atmosphere was assumed in nearly all of the scenario-based climate models that succeeded in keeping global temperature rise below 2 degrees C. However, the feasibility, mechanisms and implications of greenhouse gas removal were insufficiently understood. There was a high uncertainty about whether they could even be implemented at scale, and knowledge gaps were evident across the disciplinary areas of the partners. So there was clearly a critical strategic need for research in this area, and therefore GGR-A was established. So moving forward a little bit, following the establishment of UKRI, a number of collective funds were created which councils could bid into. One of these was the Strategic Priorities Fund, SPF, which had the aims of increasing high-quality, multi- and interdisciplinary research and innovation, ensuring UKRI investment align with government research and innovation priorities, and allowing the ability to respond to strategic priorities and opportunities. So at the time, at the end of sort of 2018, beginning of 2019, it was clear there was much more research needs in GGR, specifically taking research to a demonstrator scale. There was a community poll for more research in this area, for example, from the Royal Society, Royal Academy of Engineering GGR report. And this resulted in an SPF bid for the £31.5 million GGR-D programme. SPF made it really easy for us to work cross-council, and the GGR-D programme was developed in partnership between NERC, AHRC, BBSRC, EPSRC, ESRC and Innovate UK. As I mentioned, SPF needs to link up to government priorities, and GGR-D had to have a lead sponsor from a government department, in this case BEIS, but also strong support from DEFRA. The case relied on the need to meet the Paris Agreement, but it's continued to remain important after the net zero legislation came into force later in 2019. And this area continues to remain incredibly important in the UK, as was seen by the investment from BEIS for the GGR Technologies competition. So I think that brings us back to the current day. So I'll just say now what the aim for the two-day meeting, which are to close and celebrate the work in the GGR-A Programme. And tomorrow we'll formally launch the GGR-D Programme, highlight the BEIS-funded GGR competition, and maximise knowledge sharing and transfer between the programmes. I'm really looking forward to an exciting day of talks and discussion to find out exactly all the detail of what's been going on across the programmes. But I'll hand back to Phil now. Thanks.
Thank you, Lizzie. An applause after a talk is, I think, something that we've maybe forgot what that feels like after so many Zoom conferences and meetings. So I should say that this meeting is jointly organised by the GGR-A and the GGR-D programmes. I'm delighted to welcome everyone who's joined us in person to the IET in London, but we're also joined by I think over 180 people online as well. So welcome to those who are joining via online. I think so. Lizzie nicely summarised what's the backstory behind the GGR programmes and the aims and objectives of this meeting. A bit of sort of overview of how the at least today is going to go. So to try and celebrate and distill some of the key findings from the GGR-A programme, this morning we're going to have two panel discussions from the researchers involved in those programmes. We'll then, so there'll be plenty of time for Q&A, so please get your questions ready. And after lunch, we'll have a panel presentation from the GGR-D programme. So we'll have an introduction to what the GGR-D programme is about, and then after that we'll have a set of breakout sessions which will try and sort of bring those two communities together and start to pull some of the knowledge that we've learned from the GGR-A programme through into the GGR-D programmes. So we'll keep you right about how the programme's going to progress over the day. Hopefully my clicker works. Try the other one. Nope. Okay, so could we go to the next slide, please? So like I said, if you're going to ask questions, go onto Slido. You can go onto the website and just stick 099169 into the search bar at the top, and you should be able to get access to the Q&A board for this meeting. Okay, next slide, please. And we've had that, so please, next slide. Okay, so the introduction to the GGR-A programme. My slider clicker works now, great. So what I plan to do over the next sort of 5 minutes or so, just before the panel discussion, is just give you an introduction to the GGR-A programme. When the call came out for proposals in 2016, the aims of the funding were to define the real-world feasibility of GGR technologies or approaches, not just from a technical perspective, but a whole range of economic, social, and environmental perspectives as well. And the second ambition was to synthesize knowledge and understanding from GGR space, work that's been previously done and new work as part of the programme, to have impact and relevance for policy making. We started the projects sort of mid to late 2017, and then most of the projects have now wrapped up towards the end of last year. There's a few work streams continuing, but most of the work has been completed. As Lizzie suggested, 6 funding organisations were instrumental in creating this programme, from UKRI and from BEIS, the government department, and the Met Office. They awarded just a little bit over $8.5 million to 18 institutions. It involved over 100 researchers from across the UK in 11 projects. We're going to hear from researchers in those projects, and hopefully they'll be able to tell us what their acronyms mean. But just to broadly split up, we had 4 consortium projects. So these were larger projects involving numerous researchers, interrogating the range of GGR approaches from different perspectives. Projects looking at soil, looking at forestation and bioenergy, looking at enhanced weathering and synthesis and assessment of these approaches. We have 7 topic-specific projects. So these are smaller projects that were designed to look at very specific issues associated with each of these ideas. And I suppose maybe just giving you the sort of headline outcomes from this body of work, as there's so the researchers involved in this program published well over 300 peer-reviewed papers, and that's garnered around a little bit over 11,000 citations from our count. So this is actually an enormous body of science that's been undertaken as part of this program. The legacy of that will obviously outlive the program and maybe even ourselves, but it will certainly be instrumental over the next 2 decades in GGR space and how the field progresses. So it's fantastic to see all of that good science come out. There's been well over 150 public and stakeholder engagement activities and over 50 instances of policy impact as reported by the program's scientists. And of course, we've contributed to things like skills and training, creative outputs, intellectual property, databases and software. So as you would expect a research program to do. One of the most profound things I think about the program, though, is its impact on policy, and you can see that pretty much any major report that's been published in the last 5 years in this space, if you follow either the citations or the trail of breadcrumbs leading to the underpinning science, or to the participants in workshops that guide these publications, or the either in some cases direct authorship of publications, you can see that the research program has had a major influence on a lot of the major outcomes or major reports within this space. So it's really fantastic to see that. And in my opinion, I think the GGR-A program has certainly put the UK in a leadership position in GGR internationally. So I think that's wonderful to see. And I'm excited to see this continue through the GGR-D program as well. So I suppose that's the only thing that I would like to say. Apart from that, to sort of help distill some of this policy influence, we're going to be launching a set of policy briefs, and the first set are up on our website. So you can visit our website, ggrprogram.org.uk, and take a look at some of the policy briefs, and we'll be releasing more over the next month as well.